It was wonderful to be chair of the committee this year, and on behalf of the Pennsylvania Center for the Book, I would like to thank Lee Bennett Hopkins and also the School Librarians Association. The National Lee Bennett Hopkins Award for Children's Poetry is granted annually to an anthology of poetry or a single-volume poem published for children in the previous calendar year by a living American poet or anthologist. Co-sponsored with Mr. Hopkins, the University Library, the Pennsylvania Center for the Book, and the Pennsylvania School Librarians Association, 2011 marks the 19th anniversary of this award. And the other judges this year were Beth Enochs of Fort Worth, Texas, Alice Schertle of Plainfield, Massachusetts, Dr. Eloise M. Long of Topton, Pennsylvania, and Rob Arneson of Fargo, North Dakota. And this year we chose one honor book, and that honor book is Dark Emperor and Other Poems of the Night by Joyce Sidman and illustrated by Rick Allen. And Joyce actually gave me the honor of choosing a poem to read. So I've chosen Oak After Dark. As nighttime rustles at my knee, I stand in silent gravity and quietly continue chores of feeding leaves and sealing pores, while beetles whisper in my bark, while warblers roost in branches dark. I stretch my roots into the hill and slowly, slowly drink my fill. 1,000 crickets scream my name, yet I remain the same. I do not rest, I do not sleep, and all my promises I keep. To stand while all the seasons fly, to anchor earth, to touch the sky. And one thing the committee loved about this book was the informational aspect of it that really deepens the experience of the book as a journey through the night. And Joyce could not be here, but she wrote, I am thrilled to be a part of the 2011 Lee Bennett Hopkins Award celebration, if only from afar. Thank you all for helping to spread the musical, magical power of poetry throughout the land. I love what I do. I can think of no better job than trying to capture joy on paper. Tunisian poet Mohammed Al-Ghuzi said it best. His poem from the anthology, This Same Sky, edited by Naomi Shihab Millen, is called The Pen. Take a pen in your uncertain fingers. Trust and be assured that the whole world is a sky, blue butterfly, and words are the nets to capture it. And I am pleased to announce the 2011 winner of the Lee Bennett Hopkins Poetry Award is The Ink Garden of Brother Theophane by C.M. Millen, illustrated by Andrea Wisniewski. And this wonderful narrative poem details the inspiring and humorous journey of Brother Theophane, who makes a creative discovery while engaging with the natural world. So if you don't have this book, you must get it. It's absolutely wonderful. And so I'm honored to invite Cindy to come up to receive this clock to commemorate the award and a check from Lee Bennett Hopkins himself. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. I'm C.M. Millen, and I am deeply honored by this award, especially because so many on this committee are librarians. You are my heroes. It's interesting, a brief aside before I say thank you, that this morning, I don't know about you, but we were all watching the royal wedding. And it's only fitting that this presentation is made in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I'm from Ohio, and I have never been to Hershey. But you must know that this little town had a huge impact during World War II. When RRGIs finally got involved in the war, at the end of 1941, that tiny beleaguered island, as you know, in Britain, was holding on for dear life. And it was RRGIs who came over and brought hope and Hershey bars to all the children in Great Britain. So
It's a treat to be here. And my daughter, by the way, who lived in London for 5 years, said, Mom, it's a great country, but I don't know how any country can live without Reese cups. So, needless to say, we would send over frequent shipments of Reese cups, and I don't know how anybody could live without Reese cups either. I'm deeply grateful to Lee Bennett Hopkins. I spoke with him on the phone. He has been one of my heroes for a long time. He has single-handedly, as you know, promoted poetry. And Seamus Heaney, one of my favorite authors, said that poetry is the music of everyday living. We are human beings, and we are meant to create poetry. Everything that we do is poetic. We breathe in a rhythm, our heart beats in a rhythm, we swing our arms in a rhythm, and we're the only living things that, like our Creator, can create works of art. And poetry is, in my opinion, the best way to write. It's easy to remember poems because our brain is like a closet organizer. You know, when you go into a messy closet, you instinctively want to organize it. Well, that's what our brain does with all that knowledge. But poetry is already organized for us in beautiful rhythms and rhymes. And so we remember it. Even when we're very, very old, we'll still be able to remember that I will not eat them with a fox. I will not eat them in a box. I will not eat them here or there. I will not eat them anywhere. We'll also remember how, what was it, 12 little girls in 2 straight lines? Right. And of course, we'll remember those precious poems because they stay with us forever. They're forever organized in our brain. I would like to thank Charles Bridge, my publisher. I've been blessed to be able to work with 3 different publishing houses. But Charles Bridge accepted this story, even though it had a little bit of religious bent in there. Of course, the primary purpose of it was to glorify the monks themselves to preserve such knowledge. And Charles Bridge has been a great publishing house. And Andrea Wisniewski, I try to remind people when they say, oh, it's such a gorgeous book. All I wrote were the little black and white parts. She made it fantastic. These are all woodblock prints with watercolor and hand-cut paper. And I believe, I was really hoping that she would be considered for a Caldecott, and I'm convinced in the future she will. She's a young artist out of Connecticut, and I think you'll be seeing a lot of her in the future. Just as the monks preserved civilization by copying all the great knowledge, the Bible, mathematics works of the Greeks, you too are the saviors of civilization. In this age, when children can grow up and see 30-second visuals of everything, when they do not have to learn how to write a formal letter because they can text everything, when everything in a movie happens in an hour and a half and everything is quickly resolved in the first 10 minutes, you tell them, you show them that reading a book is the long journey into knowledge. That by reading a book, the knowledge becomes your own. Not by looking at a picture did we learn what Anne of Green Gables' house must have looked like. We made that in our own minds. Not by watching the movie did we imagine what the Wizard of Oz must have looked like. We first read that in a book, and we made it our own. It is only by reading do we truly own a story, because we create, along with the author, what the story is. We make those images in our mind. The monks inspired me a great deal in Ireland. I know the Irish descent, thanks to my mother, who's here with me, and my grandmother, who used to say, you know, there's only two kinds of people in the world, the Irish and those who wish they were. And those of you who aren't Irish, I know you don't appreciate that, but I'm afraid it is true. And when you go to Ireland and you see the old ruins, you appreciate that these monks did a heroic job saving all this knowledge. But what was most wonderful is to read, and I've picked out a couple things in the PowerPoint, to read the poems that they wrote when they were tired, And I thought, wow, how human these guys in the 800s and 900s who were these holy men. And, my claw is so tired of scribbling and writing about all the great things that were outside. And it was those poems that were gratefully translated, preserved by Thomas Kinsella and Ireland, that we were able to see these human beings who did this heroic work. And they were the inspiration, by the name of Brother Theophane, for this story. Please continue to do what you do. With budget cuts, you open a child's mind and you create a confidence in them to be who they should be. So many children who don't fit into what society says children should be find who they should be in a library, in a book, where they can absorb this knowledge, this creativity, and inspire themselves to be who they are meant to be. Thank you to the committee and to all of you for this great honor. I treasure it deeply. And thank you for your support of children's book writers throughout the U.S. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you.